Hey, Patriots! It's Friday. Today we're going to look at two parts. The first part is we're going to learn how to add and subtract decimals. The second part is dividing fractions. First of all, on add and subtract decimals, unlike multiplying decimals, you do line up the decimals when you are adding and subtracting decimals. On dividing fractions, there's three letters that you learn: K, C, R. Let's look at an example and see what that means. The first part I'm going to do is add and subtract decimals because obviously it's what I have on my screen here. We have 3 2/10 plus 22 hundredths. Okay, like multiplying decimals, I'm going to give you a few rules to remember and then we'll show you how it works. First one is, unlike multiplying decimals, when you are adding or subtracting, you do line up the decimals. Again, when you are adding or subtracting decimals, you do line up the decimals. Multiplying decimals, you do not. Adding or subtracting, you do. So that's what this will look like. We have 3 2/10, so I'm going to rewrite it. So we're going to rewrite it. We have 3 2/10, and then we're going to add the 22 hundredths. Again, the decimals have to be lined up. So if that decimal is there, I'm going to put that decimal and put the numbers around it. There's two 2's after it, so I'm going to put the 2. And I'm going to put the other 2. And of course, this is adding, so I already have my addition sign and put my line. Okay, and now you're going to add it like you normally would. The first thing I'm going to do is this. There's not a number right there. I'm not going to put a 0 because even though there is no number there, I can add a 0 and it doesn't actually change its value. Because again, 3.2 is the same thing as 3.20. They're said the same way. 3 2/10. If you add the 0, it's still 3 2/10. But we're going to add a 0 just for placeholder, and visually it just helps out. And then you're just going to add it. 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And then bring down my 3. And then that decimal, because it's lined up, it's there, and it's now going to be there. And I believe is an expression y'all have heard about: line them up, up, up. I don't know the song that goes with it, but it helps out. Notice how they are lined up, up, up. They are lined up. So make sure your decimals are in a line. That helps you know you have the right answer. Now, if you're subtracting decimals, it's the exact same concept. The decimals still get lined up. Of course, you would be subtracting instead. In this particular problem, that means there would be some borrowing going on. But main thing you need to understand is line up your decimals. Okay, this half the video is the dividing fractions. So I have one already wrote up. It's 4 divided by 1/2. And when you learn dividing fractions, we told y'all 3 cool little letters by the names of K and C and the R. Fun stuff. Okay, here's what these means. So first of all, because I have a whole number involved and we're dividing fractions, I want all my numbers to be fractions, just easier to work with. So to turn a whole number into a fraction, you simply put a 1 under it. That's going to be my first step before I do KCR. Then I'm going to follow my KCR steps. So I have the letters above the parts that they affect. Here we go. So what we're going to do is going to take KCR. They apply to what they're above. For example, the K applies to the 4/1. The C applies to the divide, and the R applies to the 1/2. K stands for keep. That means the 4/1, we're going to keep it. Don't change it. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the 4/1 on a new problem. And that's the other thing I do recommend is to rewrite the problem. So keep the 4/1. C stands for change. That means to change this divide to a multiply. The R stands for reciprocal. Cool word. Overall, it simply means to flip. What it means by that is 1/2. The reciprocal of it is literally to flip it. So instead of 1/2, it now becomes 2/1. Notice it's just simply flip. That's all it is. So the word reciprocal means flip. And then after we've done KCR, we now have 4/1 times 2/1. Now you follow your multiplication rules and just multiply. Or, as I said, Just do it. Multiply numerator times numerator first. 4 times 2 is 8, or the denominator times denominator. So 1 times 1 is going to give me a 1. And up here, a whole number over 1 is the same thing as a whole number. So 8 over 1 is the same thing as just simply 8. Other than that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.